Sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL Regular Season Championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly, the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vasquez with the finish. Brandon Vasquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
Montreal got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that any better. Goal of the tournament. Maybe the history of the tournament. Alvaro Barreal makes it 2-0.
They have done it. Cincinnati, your 2023 Supporters Shield winners. A first trophy in their MLS era, and now they celebrate. Top of the Supporters Shield race since May. They never look back. And now a piece of silverware to show for it.
They've gone for the long-range efforts. My word! That is spectacular! That is a goal to savour for a lifetime! An I was there type goal! Look at Orishano with an iconic strike at TQL Stadium.
CF Montreal just go to sleep when the ball goes. Was whistle dead, and Orishano just takes a peek, looks up, and doesn't even need to touch the ball. And how about this technique? Just absolutely perfect.
Lifted into the penalty area. That's Bauer, and that's Will. That's saved, and that's Surridge, and he still saves it on the line. Look at 60 seconds for Roman Santano.
A double save, and he knows everything about it as well. First the punch, but then he gets back to his line. That is sensational, because he goes low for that first one, but look at him get up again.
Rajano gets the cross away. Bicycle kick! Wow! A top-class finish for Kévin Denkey!
Juninho against Hildebrand.
And Hildebrand has done it again! It is sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL Regular Season Championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly, the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vasquez with the finish. Brandon Vasquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
Montreal got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that.
The Flying Lion says,
"Boys, hell is real."
2023 Supporter Shield champ.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
I want to play for these fans because these fans are amazing.
In this club, you don't play just for the club. You play for the fans. I'm here for the fans.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
What's going on, guys?
Everyone, another live edition here of the Flying Lion podcast, a week where FC Cincinnati comes away with 4 points, just as Sam and I had predicted. honestly just not in the games we thought that we would have gotten the points. Sam, what are we thinking?
No, yeah. I mean, first win in a long time against NYCFC, and then you would have thought that our streak against the West would have continued considering Seattle's, form. But like Ryan said, I mean, 4 points. But obviously both games being at home, you would have liked 6.
Yeah, so you're going to hear a little bit of some triggering words from me because Saturday night was just not acceptable. I think there's no reason you shouldn't win that game and come out with 3 points. So we're going to cover NYCFC midweek match, a win, again, kind of grinded out kind of win, in that one. Then we'll hit all of the things around the Seattle match as well and things that came out of that. Second part of the episode, we're going to talk on some FC Cincinnati news, some interesting news about our general manager, transfer window updates or lack thereof, some EA FC ratings just for 2026, and then we play the top team in the MLS on Saturday. Coming out of this one against Seattle, a lot to talk about there too. So stay tuned to that one. It'll be very interesting. Sorry if again I'm going to go off a little bit in the second part here, but first one, Wednesday night, we had a 2-1 victory against NYCFC. Sam, pretty crazy, honestly. We were 6-2-1 at TQL Stadium in MLS play. It's been pretty solid at times, I would say there. Even in Leagues Cup, like you had 2 solid wins. Obviously, you lose to Atlas, but yeah, I mean, overall at TQL, it's been better, I would say, than maybe a year ago, even 2 years ago. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been pretty consistent. We've showed up for our fans. I think, I put a stat out at one point, either I think it may have been before the break, the amount of goals, right, that we were scoring at home, giving our fans kind of a good show on the offensive side. And yeah, it's kind of been, Ryan's going to touch on it a little bit later, lack thereof a little bit. But as far as making TQL a fortress, I think they've done a pretty decent job at it so far this year.
Yeah, especially on Wednesdays. 3-1-1 on Wednesdays this season. I think that was actually prior to the match, so make that 4-1-1. Now at the time for the NYCFC. At the time, again, NYCFC 1 point behind FC Cincinnati. So coach's message, Pat Noonan said, guys, I don't do this often, but this match is important. Number one, kind of wild that we're even saying that before this game, and it's the only time that maybe he's done this.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. But lineup-wise, Sam, any thoughts on what we saw? We did see Kyle Smith slide into the center back spot there. Maybe Samuel Guidi getting a little bit of rest, had a tooth pulled the week before. Besides that, anything else that you saw?
I mean, not particularly. I know it was interesting. Both lineups, I know we'll touch on the other game, but rotated more than you would have thought. Just trying to maybe get some fresh legs in there, like Ryan had mentioned. Ender playing at the left wing back in this one is obviously a change from what we've seen. Brian kind of starting out and then Echenike coming in the second half. But then you've got Mboma Dem, like we kind of called back up top with Denkey. And then Obi makes his 150th appearance for FC Cincinnati, only the 6th player to do so in club history. So big accomplishment for him. He will obviously continue to live in the FCC history books. But yeah, I think other than that, it was pretty much what we kind of expected. Yazga and Miles, next to each other in the back line there. But any surprises for you, or was that?
Kyle Smith just continues to be that guy. Big thing for me was midweek, like we didn't even have Shirilla at all. That was just shocking to me. Like, not even in the 18. Like, who does he make room for would be the argument, just with Hagelin being there, Powell. Like, those guys haven't really played, honestly, any minutes in 2 or 3 months. So if Shirilla is going to be a better option for that, why not slide him in? You see in the second match, Seattle game, he starts. So for me, that was the surprising thing. Sam, he wasn't even in the second team roster. The same night, we didn't see.
They traveled.
Well.
So. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting dynamic going on for Shirilla this season, especially this second half. But who knows? We haven't really gotten an inside look on it. But Ryan, as we kind of go into the match here, FC Cincinnati looked pretty solid the first couple minutes, trying to gain control against NYCFC on your home turf, right? Usually when we play away, it's a little bit more difficult to retain that possession since the pitch is a little bit, smaller. So here we're able to kind of take advantage of getting their squad kind of out, right? Caught out a little bit from the back line. And so you see, a ball played in by Evander. I think he's trying to find Kenji on this one, and it ends up finding Denkey. Kenji kind of like outruns it, if you will. But Denkey is able to corral it. And I think originally the announcers were like, oh, wow, like great find by Denkey to pass it to. No, like it went off the defender and then straight to Kenji. And luckily that happened that way, because I don't know if Kenji was going to be onside, and he's able to put in a good finish, though.
Yeah, I think honestly, like Kenji's just been in the right place for a lot of moments, but he's been able to score. I think I was looking it up. I think he's got 5 goals in MLS play, 9 total on the season now. So nice little season for him. But yeah, I think the bigger thing was like Denkey gets into that position. He just hasn't been able to find the back of the net, and we'll touch on that here in a little bit. But more importantly, like we went up again early. We saw that, against Orlando previously. We saw that in Seattle match as well. So 11 minutes in, you have that lead. You feel pretty solid. But 10 minutes later, they give up a goal. The pass that is played behind Kyle Smith, I think, is cheeky. I think Kyle kind of checks out for a minute there. I believe a very informed guy with Ojeda, Nicholas Fernandez as well. They kind of like develop this play. It leads to a cross, and a guy that they had just signed on loan from Palmeiras, I believe, down in Brazil, in Luigi. He scores in this one. I think that Miles maybe isn't fast enough. Him and Miazga maybe miscommunicate a little bit on stepping out to the ball.
Miazga kind of, it looks like he kind of loses his guy for a half second, like when they're going into the box together, and he kind of like, I don't know, puts an arm's length distance between them, and for some reason loses him.
How many times this season have we seen the ball get to the end line and cut back, and all of our center backs are at the 6, leaving all this space for the runners?
Yeah.
It happened against Seattle again. Like, I don't know. It's almost like it's a zonal type thing instead of them going man, or maybe I'm just making an excuse for guys just not honestly picking up their man. But it's happened in multiple times now. Like, what are we doing with marking? So 1-1, you go into the half, and again, like maybe you feel like you have some decent chances. I feel like against NYCFC, I always thought it was going to be like punch, counter punch, just especially being midweek. But second half was boring, Sam. Like, let's be honest. I think I texted you, and I was just like, there's just nothing really here. Part of it is just, I don't know if we've kind of take the reins off the offense a little bit to try to be more protective to the defense. But it just looked at times like they lacked ideas. We see that in this match. We see it against Seattle as well. And really, we just get bailed out at the end by Evander. I mean, literally just doing what Evander does. So at the very last minute, let's talk about it. 2 minutes of extra time, by the way, in this one for the second half.
I mean, that's
the first minute of extra time.
Honestly, like the amount of like extra time that you've been seeing, not only like in the MLS, but like around the world, to have 2, it came a bit of a shock.
It was. And so the first minute of extra time, like literally out of nowhere, a connection between Bucha and then to Dado, who plays the ball, to Evander in a good spot, top of the 18, maybe a little bit off to the side, turns blindly on his left foot and slots it away past Matt Freese, who, by the way, we booed the entire match. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But Evander just doing what Evander does. Tell me this, Sam. He goes over and he celebrates and he kisses the badge. And he does the Lucho. He does, "This is my city." What do you think about that?
I'm just happy to see when our number 10s are here and they're performing, they love the city. And they perform for the city, right? I think in the Pat Noonan era, if you wear the number 10, like it seems almost as if like the team's yours, right? So I'm not surprised by it. I think he's done a similar celebration. I think when he scored against the Crew and went and like, kicked the board there, he was pretty livid on that one. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, this one was special. Just honestly, pure skill. to turn around like that and just finish with the left foot, with your off foot, like it's nothing, and I mean, obviously, before he does the, it's my city celebration, he's turning around, he's like, hey, remember the name, like this guy's special, he really is. And he saved us, I don't know, in countless times, just based off of his quality, not necessarily based off of luck or anything like that. Just him doing him like crazy.
So what you're talking about, Evander's now scored his 4th career stoppage time goal for FC Cincinnati. 3 of those game-winning, goals. I think he's had a few this season as well. That's tops of any player in club history. So big deal there. At the time, we had won 4 consecutive MLS home matches, the longest home streak since 10 in a row, which was back in 2023, our Shield season. Some other stats that came out of it, just with Pavel Bucha recording his 20th career assist. That's a loose assist, if we want to talk about that on Evander's goal at the end there. I don't know if I want to. I mean, it's a hockey assist, but
it's a hockey one, yeah.
It's just weird. Too shy of Ledesma, 22 for Ledesma. So Bucha is now 4th most in club history, all competitions. Again, just finding ways for him to contribute. He had a little bit of a slow 2 past games, I'd say, just compared to what we had seen previously.
Yeah, doesn't score a goal. Slow
That's
game.
That's what I'm saying.
Bucha.
It's slow for him as of late, right? But he didn't really maybe it was a defensive thing, that the other team was kind of focusing on, but they kind of shut him down a little bit in the NYC. He wasn't really a factor in that one.
No.
But we came out with the win. Wednesday, again, marked that 3rd stoppage time game-winning goal of 2026. Again, most in single-season club history for that to happen as well, which is just pretty crazy. The late-game heroics. We scored, I think, the most amount of goals for a certain time block, after the 75th minute. So, and then 8-3-3 when we score first this season, all competitions. So I want to touch on that here in a little bit, actually. But after this one, Roman, Evander, Sam, team of the match day. No surprises, but we failed to mention how good Roman was at times down the stretch. Obviously Evander gets the game-winning goal. The last 20 minutes of the match, he had. Somebody called it like prime Buffon. He turned into, our master keeper at saving. I mean, he had 2 or 3 down to his side. The first one right after half that he kind of pushed over too. So I think he had 7 saves on the match, was the most in the season, for him for a single game. So shout out to him, for that one. Obviously Evander doing his thing as well. It led us to be in a good moment because honestly, that spread the gap a little bit, between the 2 teams at the time. I think it was 4 points. It's still 4 points, if you look at it. So I'm not going to overreact yet until we start digging into this one, and then I will. But at the time, Sam, you got to feel pretty good about having a little bit of a lead there, a little bit of stretch in the points between us and New York.
Well, any time that you win matches that you're not supposed to, it's a good feeling, right? I think, Pat Noonan, said after the match too, like we did not play a full 90. We didn't play our best, and we got 3 points out of it. And at the end of the day, you're not going to complain about getting 3 points, but it's all about getting better for the next match. And that next match was against a team that you should get 3 points against.
Yeah. So Seattle Saturday had lost 8 straight MLS matches coming in. Doesn't feel good, knowing that we tied 1-1. But I think, like you're saying, there was some signs, from NYC that, we had to put together a better performance, or else, we're going to let teams kind of stay into things. Yeah. So that's, to me, kind of what I saw out of Wednesday. You kind of get lucky. You get bailed out again, by a little bit of hero ball there. Because Saturday, at times, it looked really good. So let's talk about it. So Sam mentioned against the West, since the restart from World Cup break, 2-0 against Western Conference opponents. Some pretty solid teams in Vancouver and San Jose prior that we had, good wins at home. FCC have the most home goals as well, so with 30 in the MLS season. So you knew there was going to be goals. Not as many, though, honestly, as we had been hoping, But Sam, Shauna Coley pulls the sword, club legend. Pretty cool to see. Former MVP, first year for FC Cincinnati, first home goal, has that kind of half scissor bike goal. I was there for that one. I was kind of level to him when he scored that. I was pumped to see you go back in the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, once again, just a club legend, like you said. That scissor kick is kind of just, it lives in infamy, right? That photo of the very first one. But yeah, also very first MVP. So is this another MVP kind of showing up and going, Evander, hey, like you could be the third MVP in club history, right? Like you could be one of us. So
Would be the fourth though, right?
fourth.
Because
Did
I
the-
think Manu
Yeah,
as well.
Manu won it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so fourth then. Yeah, I think ultimately he showed out. He did. It was good. It was a good sword pull. He showed up for the march too, which is really cool to kind of see him out there.
Guy's
but-
jacked, by the way.
Oh my gosh,
He's
yeah.
looking pretty fit. He reminds me of Sergio. No, not Sergio Ramos. Who was I think? Sergio Ramos also jacked, but Torres, I think, as well. This former Spanish striker who just like all of a sudden turned in.
Oh, yeah.
Ozil for Arsenal,
Yeah.
also another guy that's like turned to just being just this giant guy. But yeah, he looked good. He looked like he could still play striker for us.
Center back.
Yeah, it was a good sword pull. I like that he came in for the match. Center back. Yeah, right. Lineup wise was just very heavily rotated.
It caught you by surprise.
It
caught you
did.
by
I think I
surprise.
wasn't expecting that many, just based on like Wednesday to Saturday. He had to have some. You're thinking, well, Seattle's maybe a little bit weaker on paper. They also like trotted out probably the worst starting 11 I've seen in a long time. But with a lot of young, potential talent, just on paper just didn't look good. They had 9 injured players, coming in for Seattle. So doesn't look great, hearing again what the result was. But Sam, tell us a little bit about lineup wise.
Yeah, like you said, heavily rotated. Finally, Bucha gets the rest that he so deserves in this one. Like Ryan was talking about, last match, no Shrilla at all in the 18 or for FCC2. He gets the nod at center back. First MLS start since May 9th at Charlotte FC for Mr. Andre Shrilla. Crazy stat there. Barlow back up top without, Denkey next to Kenji. That's a twosome. I don't know if we've seen maybe this season. If not, maybe it's been like a very long time, right? And then Anunga, another guy who gets a start, hadn't started since May 16th at San Diego. So interesting there. And then Miazga out of the 18 completely. I know, Ryan, is this a planned rest? He's one away from yellow card. Like what's going on here? But yeah, very heavily rotated there.
Yeah, I had a couple friends ask, like, what's up with Denkey? Is he getting sold? Like, why is he not starting? But Wednesday, he just looked gassed. I think at times, like, he just didn't have – he's played a lot of matches. Let's talk on that. Yeah. He's been slumping a little bit. I think Pat was trying to maybe change the mojo. I'm going to talk a little bit about my opinion on him a little bit here, so stay tuned for that. But, yeah, I thought it was fascinating just with the amount of rotation it was. There was a lot of change just comparatively from what we've seen from World Cup break on. And then Miazga, I think you mentioned, right, like out of the 18 completely. Was it planned rest? Was it just one away from a yellow card suspension? I don't read into that a ton there, but yeah, it was fascinating. So with Miazga being out, then Shrilla comes in for the first time in a while. Like, where's the continuity? That's the thing for me is like, why not even have him in the 18 in the last match then? Sacrifice somebody else, unfortunately. But like, if you're not going to use Hagelin, you're not going to use Powell, put somebody in there that you might use. I don't know. I love Nick. I love, obviously, Alvis too. But like, we haven't been using them. So what's the point of having him on the bench at this point? It's interesting. The other thing that we failed to mention is Rozek, Sam, like our third string goalkeeper on Wednesday, was sitting in the players' family section. Wasn't even on the second team. Another guy occupying an international spot, just hanging out, just occupying a spot, but not doing anything for us. Doesn't make any sense. Sidebar. But as we looked at Seattle's, the first part of the match, Sam, we dominated. I mean, it was 70+% possession for, the whole match for us. Shots were just dominated by us the whole time, but you got to score the goals. And I think the first look that you have was just Evander playing an amazing ball, into the box. Robinson has a nice header, and it's a good save, actually, by the Seattle keeper.
Yeah, I honestly, he gets barely a hand on it or maybe a fingertip. And you're thinking, hey, that could have been goal number one of many right there in the first 15 minutes of the match. But luckily for FC Cincinnati, they kept pushing, right? And it's exactly what we kind of wanted to look like coming into this match, was as an overwhelming, kind of favorite against this Seattle squad, like Ryan said, puts out, kind of a lackluster lineup. So you got to take advantage, and kind of controlled possession, was able to settle in a little bit. And oh my gosh, I mean, this goal sequence with Dotto, Shirilla, Evander, like just a full like team goal, just attacking the crap out of this goal, and we find a way to put it in the back of the net.
I called it a FIFA goal. Like, if you guys aren't familiar, just playing the game, like, it's like a joke. It's almost like you hit the bar, then you hit the guy's face, and then you hit it off the line, and then finally somebody taps it in.
Circles.
Yeah, just mashing that circle button. But yeah, Vander, puts it away finally. We had, tons of chances there, obviously, and high quality chances too. But yeah, he gets the goal. His 13th, I believe, MLS season. For him, with 11 assists now, still leads MLS in amount of goal contributions overall. But yeah, I think prior to that, even like I think Brian Ramirez could have had 2 goals prior and just didn't get it. Again, we're talking about missed opportunities now that maybe we didn't talk about. If we score those and it's 2 or 3-0, you kill this team off, because the first half they were dead in the water, Sam. They looked like FC Cincinnati from 2020, 2021. Sitting back, absorbing pressure, releasing it long, kicking it out of bounds like multiple times, and just were not able to sustain anything. Props to Brian Schmelzer, because number one, at halftime, his messaging was good, but also I think the sidebar to this is like, we're only up 1 goal, and the messaging to them has got to be, you're still in this match. But then you go to the locker room, and you see that you're adding Dan Jovlich from Kansas City. I've never seen a transfer happen like that during the match in the team that we're playing. And so I don't know if that influenced them or not, but you get a little bit of a pickup maybe that like, hey, there's help on the way. Seattle hadn't had, a transfer. We're talking about our transfer window, no guys in.
Yeah.
They hadn't had anyone. They had a meme up in their section with the guy poking the stick, like, do something. And they responded. Their GM found them a star striker in the middle of this match, which, obviously wasn't there. But does that add a little bit to the team psyche and say, hey, we got some help on the way? Like, probably not, but it couldn't have hurt, I don't think that the manager is like, hey, look, like, this guy's going to come take your spot. Like, you better go out there and play. But maybe, because the second half, Sam, was worse than the one I saw in NYCFC second half. The messaging out of halftime is horrendous. I don't know what it's been all season long. We've had so many goals scored against us. Obviously, they don't score right away, but it was complacent. It was like we didn't care. It was like, well, we could just dominate this possession-wise, and it'll come, right? And I think Barlow has some really good looks. I mistweeted. Somebody called me out on it. I said that he dominated Seattle's defense. He caused fits to their defense, right? He got behind. He created – but you have to score. Bottom line, like, he's got to score. He had a ton of opportunities to put the game away. He didn't do it. But, again, he looked good. He hustled hard. I think he works way harder in the press than most of our strikers. So that's kind of my rant on the second half a bit here. Sam, what did you see out of it?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the lack of opportunities. I think Seattle also had opportunities as well to kind of level it up before they did, multiple times. Coming. So
I mean, that's why everyone was like, "Look, this is building."
Yeah, like you said though, put it away. I think Seattle maybe had a chance like right before half, and then second half begins, and it's kind of just all right. Like FC Cincinnati, we gotta get one before this 90, because this is not the 2023 team where you could just buckle down and win by 1 goal. That's just
100%.
not what you're gonna get. And so ultimately, Seattle ends up getting the equalizer. Like Ryan said, kind of saw it coming. And Ryan, I want to show you a photo of this goal right here. You tell me who's man marking who.
I'm telling you what, on these cutbacks, dude, they're all, okay, so you have 2 guys on the strikers, but You have two guys that are just kind of out there, not really marking anyone. Where is our other centerman? Like, I see Anunga, but like, where's Dado in this? Like,
So
no
I will say on this, right, the reason why it looks so bad is because it was a corner, right?
We lost the ball.
Jabari's trying to break away with the ball, and literally the faintest little touch, all he has to do is tap it to his left, and I can't remember if it's Evander or if it's somebody else is on his left.
Yeah,
and
somebody else was there, and that's what led to them countering, because nobody's out wide to pressure the ball.
Yeah, so you get
But it's
the
same thing I'm talking about on transition defense, when they all slide to the 6 and they leave that space behind for people to cut back and score. Either it's your center mids that have to get back on those guys, or the center backs have to tell somebody, like, look, I'm going to go and take this guy. Like, tell each other, who do you have in the runs? Like, and it just led to an easy tap in for them. So prior to that, like you said, there was opportunities for Seattle because, Sam, like, we couldn't keep the ball in a sustained way on their side of the field. I think I had kind of a field tilt photo to kind of show, like, we had a ton of passes into the final third is the one that you're showing here. I think this is more in relation to the first half. I think, did I give you the other one as well, if you want to put it up there? So the field tilt as well, like 77% of the field tilt. I bet you in the second half, like, it was not that way. You can see, like, in this graphic here, passes into the final third again, like tons of chances here where we're kind of dinging around. But I bet if you break this down more, it's the first half versus the second half. And the big thing for me that's different is Kévin Denkey coming into the match, Sam. You could probably click off on the graphic now, but 58th minute, we stopped playing soccer. Like, we stopped making moves up top. We just got lazy. And I think for me, that's what's the most frustrating, because first half in both matches looked so good at times in, having guys run behind the defense, or guys check back, or our wing backs making runs behind. There was none of that once Denkey came in. It was so stagnant. It was so easy to defend. There's tons of talk out there in the fan base about ball progression. Okay, let's talk about this. Yes, we have to have guys in the midfield that can progress the ball. How can they progress the ball if there's no movement around them, though? They're on an island. So I think that's kind of like a half-assed argument, in my opinion, because you have nobody to play it to. At times, our wingbacks have nobody to play it up to up top because there's no movement. So what do? They pass it back to the center back, and they ding it around. So, I mean, you're talking be more aggressive, make that forward progressing pass. To who? Who's there?
I will say you saw a very key progressive pass from Shirilla to Dado.
That was what the graphic I was going to show you was.
Exactly.
Look at the graphic with the balls that Shirilla played. Like, he had the best through balls, the testing balls, and we went away from it in the second half. And you know why? Because Denkey doesn't make that run, Sam. No, and if he doesn't, then maybe it's Barlow. Barlow can do it. We saw him do that. Mm-hmm. But if you have one striker that's not working in unison with the other, it's going to fail every time. And that, for me, was the difference, followed by the fact that Seattle brought in tons of quality off their bench. Rusnak came in. He looked great. Roldan came in. He looked great. And our manager had no answer for it in terms of subbing. We brought in Denkey, but past that, they subbed Barlow out, who had been working his butt off in transition defense and holding the ball up. And we brought, I think, Bucha in. He did a decent job with it. But the midfield, for me, was the bigger deal on the transition moments. I think at some point you got to say, why didn't you bring Obi in sooner? That's the biggest thing. Wouldn't you say? Like, why would you not have a guy who's been playing so well in the center of the park, and you see how it's going in the second half? Bring him in.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, like you had said, just the consistency, right? Taking first half into the second half, we just haven't seen, regardless if it's good or bad, right? You talk about the NYCFC game, just consistency in both halves. The complete 90 still have yet to see. So once again, FC Cincinnati still sitting in sixth. Evander now scoring his sixth straight home MLS match, Ryan, dating back to May 13th. Pretty solid there. But like you were talking about in this match, 71% possession, 18 shots there, 11 and 9 on target to their 3. So just dominating and not quite finding the result that we needed. But Ryan, if you want to, we'll head into storylines and then we'll take a break. But the biggest storyline here, right, is the inability to kill off games. It just continues to bite us in the butt. I don't care what happened against NYCFC. That's not killing off the game. Killing off the game is going up 1-0 and then 2-0 and then 3-0, right? Like really just giving it to the defense, especially with the offensive quality that we do have and have shown.
That's what I was confused by when Pat Noonan after the match says like you can't score 3 to 4 goals every match, and like you almost like have to play more defensive. It's like you're up a goal and you're killing the team. Step on their neck, like go for it, you know. And I think again we had opportunities. You have to put away your chances. We did have that, right? But it's a pattern. Like look at San Diego. Okay, we had the lead. We ended up drawing on the road. Not a bad result. Columbus had the lead early on, 1-0. Lost that match. Lost again. A lead, Sam. Couldn't hold it. Lost at home. Draw against Orlando when, again, you go up early. Seattle, same thing. So it's a pattern of, like, not being able to hold on to it. You talked about the 2023 season. Like, we were able to win how many matches? 1-0. And that was just a willingness and a commitment from the whole roster, top to bottom, to say, we don't let in a goal. We don't let any chances in. We don't... The most important thing is the mentality. All 90 minutes being locked in, and there's just a disconnect for periods of time during the match, like where we look so good, and then 20 minutes where it's like, I don't even know what we're doing. Like where did it go? I don't know what that's attributed to.
Yeah, I think in this, you know, specifically the Seattle match, right? You bring in Denkey, you bring in Bucha, and then bring in Jabari, right? Those are your kind of your first 3 offensive subs, and in any other, like, just on paper, those are 3 great subs to bring on when you're 1-0. If you want to add on, like, right, just looking at the stats that Denkey has brought in, right, the amount of goals, Bucha as of late, goal history, right, and then Jabari, you know, you see what he did in the San Diego match where he can play late game and get you a goal, right? So these subs, like, on paper should work, but like you said, there's a disconnect for some reason. And does it all start with Kévin Denkey if you want to roll into the next one? I think this recent offensive fall off, like Ryan, if you want to touch on the stats here, and then does it attribute to the Denkey slumping? Are they kind of connected?
Yeah, the offense and him is like very interconnected here if we look at it. So since August 4th, 6 matches, Sam, 1.66 goals per match for FC Cincinnati that we've scored. The 6 matches prior to August 4th, 3.5 goals per match. And you know what's happened in those last 8 matches? He hasn't scored. So I think it's kind of all tied in. Like, the offense doesn't run through him, but at times, like, we lack creativity because he's just not honestly there. I hate to say it. I love Kevin. I love that he's been able to score, but, like, he's key in the buildup if that's the way we want to play. And if he's not there and he's not interested, it's tough for us to progress through, you know, him or to find him opportunities. So I think it's kind of tied in. Now, I want to talk about it, and I don't know if this is true or not, but, like, he had a recently rejected move to Hull City, Sam. Do you think players a little bit upset that he doesn't have this move to the Premier League, and does that affect his performances?
I think this, to some degree, you're probably looking at the headlines and going, oh, you know, Premier League, right? They're about to kick off there in the headlines, so that would put you also in the headlines with it. Hull City obviously gets the win against Man United, what could have been potentially. But at the same time, I think you've seen at least what Kévin Denkey has told the media, right? And the facade that he's put on for the media is, I'm here at FC Cincinnati. I want to win here. I'm focused on, you know, what I do on the pitch here, and, you know, what happens behind the scenes is what it is. He seems to be very, like, you know, play first, business second, which I think we've all really appreciated, and we saw that this offseason, and we kind of, like, said publicly, right, on the podcast, we were like, hey, like, this is refreshing to hear, because this is a guy who wants to be here, and he's like, yeah, hey, if I, you know, leave, I leave. If I don't, like, I'm here. I'm willing to play for you guys. I'm going to put it out on the field. And I think I was telling you at times with Denkey, yeah, he's slumping, right? Hasn't scored in 8 matches. It's frustrating. And I think we've seen this with players in the past, right, that have been slumping a bit for FC Cincinnati, or just honestly in general. But you see it on their face, right? After a disconnected pass, after, you know, maybe something isn't going their way, right? It's very telling on their face. And so ultimately, when your fans can see the body language, right, immediately after just one, you could be up 1-0, 2-0, right, and you're still like, oh my gosh, like I haven't gotten my goal. That's when it's a problem with the fans, and you're going to start to see a lot of people, calling for you a little bit to pick up the slack, because they see it. They see your frustration after just one disconnected thing. And what you're talking about, Ryan, is, hey, you want a goal, you got to work for it. And to us, it just seems like you're kind of complaining, which I know Denkey works really hard. But I mean, just he's got to work hard in the way that the other team is doing. If you don't fit with the other pieces, then it's a disconnected puzzle.
Is that on him? Is that on the general manager? Too. I mean, it's tough, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Like we've seen with Brenner in the past, like he didn't get his move to Nottingham Forest, and he kind of shuts down, fakes an ankle injury, sits off to the sideline. Like Kevin's not doing that. He's still going out. He's still playing, right? So I give him credit for that. But he comes into the match in the 60th minute and jogs around the pitch. Like, go hard, bro. You have 30 minutes to show it. And we're down a goal at one point. Not down a goal. We're tied, right? Leave it all out there. And for me, that's what's frustrating is, like, I just need more from you, man. Show me what you got. I see it at times, but, like, consistently. Really give it your all. Check to the ball. Work with your other striker. Like, him and Evander, I've been trying to find stats for it all year. It's just, like, there's no connection between the two of them. There's nothing, and that's killing this team. So, yeah, we'll see. I think some of it, we'd be remiss to not bring up the fact that we've had 7 matches in August, Sam, and there's a lot of minutes, that these guys are playing. So there's going to be maybe a little bit of a lull in the high-scoring, affair that we've seen prior to that. But, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Would love to hear from you guys and see what you think. We talked a little bit about it, with still lacking that full 90 minutes performance. That's another big storyline too. And Evander just being in that MVP form. He's continuing. He's leading MLS and everything. It's, again, coming down to hero ball, though. It's individual brilliance, but it's gotten us results. So what can you say? Sam, hit us with the trivia question before we go to the break.
Yeah, trivia question of the week is going to be more based off of our preview a little bit later. When was the last time Nashville SC beat FC Cincinnati in MLS play?
That's a great question. I'm going to go with 2022.
All right. Okay.
I'm going I'm going to say it's been a minute.
All right. Ryan said it's been a minute. Feel free to put in your answers here, and we'll see you on the other side.
What's going on, everyone? We are excited to partner with the Manu Ledesma Academy. FC Cincinnati fans know exactly what Manu Ledesma meant to this club, and now he's helping to develop the next generation of players through his academy.
Yeah, as a part of our partnership, the Flying Lion listeners, viewers can receive 50% off all training packages by using the code Flying Lion. That's FLYIN Lion. The discount also applies to the brand new Adults 40 Plus program launching soon.
So whether you're a young player looking to improve your game or an adult that's ready to get back on that field like me, this is an incredible opportunity for you to learn from one of FC Cincinnati's most beloved players, a legend, for this city. Use the code Flying Lion again for 50% off, and thanks for your support.
Thanks again for joining us tonight. Never easy to talk about, moments where you feel like you should win. And again, I would love to hear what everyone thinks about it. Sorry to rant about it too, but I'm sure we're all just as equally frustrated because it was inexcusable that you don't get 3 points against that team on that night. But that's soccer for you sometimes, Sam. So jersey swap, what'd you have this week?
Yeah, jersey swap of the week for me, Ryan. Gonna go with a little bit of an unsung guy, a little bit of under the radar guy as of recent. Dada Valenzuela came back from suspension with something to prove. Played every minute of the last 2 matches, produced an assist, and was honestly consistently one of FC Cincinnati's better performers. For a guy who hasn't gotten nearly enough attention in the midfield as of late, this kind of feels like the perfect time to give him some of his flowers. But I think that the bigger storyline is that Dada is becoming a really important piece without getting into headlines. You see Evander's goal, Celentano's saves. the other attacking pieces that they might have. But Dotto is quietly putting together two very good performances back to back, and has honestly cemented himself in this midfield game after game.
I agree, but I disagree. And here's why.
Right.
At moments, like, he looks great, and I think, yeah, he's been that guy that's been able to, work some magic, work some good connection with Evander too. But at times he's also kind of lacked that, like, go for it, or progress the ball attitude. And defensively, I think we've lost a little bit in the midfield, like late on, where like he's maybe needed to sub him out and get somebody in there that's a little bit more sound defensively, in my opinion.
I agree. Everything you were saying, he is not. Like, he's not defensive. He is, like, for what he is being asked to do.
No, that's a good point, though.
It is not, his true position, and he's making the most of it. He's playing all 90 and getting quality. Like, you look at the FOTMOB rating, he's in the top 2, top 3 for FC Cincinnati in the past 2 matches, right? So maybe something clicked after, that one game he had to sit out and was like, okay, like, I gotta be a little bit more mature. I gotta, do something in order to continue to earn minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not quite over the hell is real thing, to be honest with you. And I think I see the fight from him, but in a controlled manner, and he continues to mature and can be that guy. I don't know if he is that 8 that we need, like, completely. I think at times he is. I just don't think he's there yet. And is it fair of me to think that, like, he needs to be now? He's still got a lot of time to kind of progress into his, full prime, but, like, the window in a lot of people's eyes is now, with the money that we've spent. And are we forcing things with who we have, there? Or is it better that we have Bucha in that position? There's a lot of arguments with that. But, yeah, I think since that moment, like, his response has been good. So I would agree with that.
Your jersey swap.
Yeah, so mine's going to be Andre Chirilla just for his Saturday performance. I felt like for a guy that's been – all over social media from the fan base, like, calling for him. Like, he kind of lived up to it, honestly, for a guy who's 18. Again, just with unbelievable forward progressive passes, looks so confident on the ball, in the back at times. I don't necessarily blame the goals that were scored all, on him or the goal on Saturday, but he's 18 and he's got time to grow. But the mentality for me is the big thing. Like, he could have easily kind of shut down Sam and said, hey, look, I haven't played in a few matches now, and coach, like, I played so well in Leagues Cup. I don't understand why I'm not playing, but he comes out and he takes his moment here and does really well. I mean, he's taking the spot of Hidebe, Hagelin, Kyle Smith, in this one. And he's done the most with his opportunities. I don't know, like, what else better he could do. You could always ask better of a lot of these guys, but for a guy who's 18 who hasn't had a ton of experience, like, I think he's handled himself very professionally.
Yeah, time in, time out. Like, Ryan, he's deserved more minutes and just hasn't gotten it, right? You put in a shift against Seattle that he has, like, pretty solid. You see him in Leagues Cup, pretty solid on the left-hand side. It really just baffles our minds, right, of why this kid, so much promise that you would kind of maybe stunt his development a little bit. But at the same time, we're not in the locker room. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We just see what's going on the field. And so from that standpoint, Chirilla's looked really good.
Passes the eye test, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I mean, with physicality, size, left-footed, passing, like, I don't know what more you could want. Like, maybe they don't want to just progress him too quickly, but why not? Like, my argument with Dotto, you might kind of counterpoint me and say, like, oh, he's young, he might not be that guy yet, right? But, like, who else better do we have in the back line, or who, at least that's performed? Like, he's done it. You can't argue that he hasn't. And, like, I want to see the stat on the goals that, like, he specifically is responsible for. Like, it's been Miles Robinson's man.
I think ultimately, like, goals he would be responsible for, you might have to go all the way back to the Revolution game.
I think of the Revs game is, yeah, for sure. I think that one comes to mind. Away, yeah, I remember that.
But other than that, like you said, consistency.
I don't know what more you could want, right? So, cards of the week, what'd you have, Sam?
My card of the week, I'm gonna poke some fun at a guy that we love so much, Ryan and I, and Erling Haaland, his new haircut. My word, my word, what is going on with this? So if you didn't see, Haaland ended up shaving his head, getting rid of that ponytail that, Zlatan said, carried so much strength for him, so much, poise and just everything. His finishing, literally everything was in the ponytail, right? And so you get this video where he FaceTimes Pep Guardiola, he FaceTimes Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and they're like, "Oh man, like they're like, what did you do? Like, why did you do this?" Right? And he's laughing, and Ryan, it showed on the pitch. He did not look like himself without the ponytail against Bournemouth in the first match. Luckily, Man City still gets the win, but Haaland without the ponytail, I guess we'll kind of see what kind of Premier League striker he'll be.
It's fascinating to me that he chooses this. Like, you'd think he'd like trademark.
Why
his,
now?
Look.
Why now?
He wants to change it up. Like, he's losing a lot of his boys around him in City, and was like, you know what? You know what he did, Sam? He talked to Pavel Bucha and was like, I know it worked for you to shave your head, and I'm going to do the same. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. He said if Bucha could do it, why not me? Why not me?
It is a pretty drastic change, though. If you guys missed it.
Big time. Big time.
I was watching, and I was like, who's the striker? Like, you just don't see like the hair. Like, obviously he has it tucked up a lot, but still.
Yeah. The last time he had like a shaved head, I think it was maybe like Leipzig. I don't know if Dortmund.
I want to say it was prior to Dortmund, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, been a while. But Ryan, your car of the week, you got one.
Yeah, I'm going European as well. So Harry Maguire, if you guys missed it, Sam and I were talking about Hull City playing Man United. Well, one of the goals that Man United gives up is because Harry Maguire is hugging his own teammate in the 6 during a corner. If you slow down and look at it, he's literally holding on to his own player instead of the defender and doesn't realize it. Hull scores. They win 2-0. Harry Maguire is forever a meme. It's kind of wild how much money they've invested in. The other second part of my card, Sam, if you missed it, I had to laugh at this one. There was a baby that ran onto the pitch during the Minnesota United match that stopped the play. Pretty incredible. Yeah, I think we had that in FC Cincinnati like a couple of years ago.
We did. Not as drastic because a lot of people were like, where were the parents? Like the parents like didn't even come out, the first maybe 10 seconds, right? It kind of took a while for the parents to even like, I think the ball boy or somebody had to go get like security had to go get the kid, which is wild. I don't know. They do it different up there in Minnesota.
Just
I guess.
Being like a toddler parent, I'm like, I get like if you have multiple, maybe like you like lose track of the one and he's like running on the field, but
yeah,
it was kind of wild. Like all of a sudden you like look over it. It's almost like remnant of like you have like an animal that runs on the pitch, right? Or like it's a kid though, like that's on there. It's just funny.
Yeah, I think as far as the Harry Maguire one, I think seeing that clip played over and over, or that freeze frame of the video, right, of just he's holding his own player, you're kicking Man United fans while they're down. They already lose 2-0 to Hull City, and then you show this over and over and over again. It's like, oh no.
Did Haaland troll the Man United guy? Is that why he shaved his head? Because he's
Maybe.
like, I can do this.
Maybe, yeah. He's like, hey, I can shave my head whenever I'd like. You guys need to win 5 in a row.
The poor man is never shaving his head. Like he's gonna like literally have hair all the way down. Sam, other FC Cincinnati news. A big one came out this week. You had, I believe, Tom Bogert, I think was the one. Yep, that reported it. FC Cincinnati rejected Austin FC's approach to speak with GM Chris Albright. Sam, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, interesting, right? You see that Tom is coming out with news of Austin's new GM. They get their GM from Minnesota, I believe. So kind of just stealing their chief of soccer operations, and so he is joining a new regime at Austin, being able to pick his own coach as well. So I think seeing the behind the scenes of this was interesting.
Jim Curtin's the coach, right? He doesn't get to pick the coach, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Jim Curtin is he's the new coach, right? So that's why it's more of like a new regime type thing. But I think Tom coming out and saying that, yeah, before they approached Minnesota, they actually came to FC Cincinnati and wanted to reunite Jim Curtin and Chris Albright. And shout out to FC Cincinnati for turning it down. I think Ryan, I'm going to see what your take is on this. I'm happy they turned it down because I've enjoyed the Chris Albright time so far. Nothing is ever pretty, but it's still like we say, let Chris cook. And so what are your kind of thoughts on not some, I think I put some in the agenda here, a lot of fans actually wanting Chris Albright gone?
Yeah, it's kind of wild, like, just with, like, how well we've done, is that attributed more to Noonan, with a lot of the players early on were not necessarily Albright guys, and he, like, kind of made it work, right? But the more recent argument, just with the consistency of the team between the two of them and bringing in guys to help reinforce things, it is kind of crazy that, like, people, like, are saying, like gone. But I could also see the other argument that, like, where have we gotten a trophy and you've had all this money to kind of play with, and what necessarily have you done with it? If you asked me, like, last season, you look at the summer transfer window and how well he did, kind of on paper with what he had. I still think maybe in the last, we have like 7 or 8 days left in the transfer window. Could he do it? We saw it last year, at the very last second he made it work, but there's rumblings right now that, he had his bags packed. He's kind of ready to go. Like, I want to see the receipts. I want to see, like, that in writing. Like, did he? Like, you can hear it, but I don't know if that's true, right? We're never going to, like, obviously hear that, but
no.
You can't tell me a guy that's been committed to the team has just, like, stopped all actions towards the team now, just suddenly, and was like, I'm just ready to go, and we denied it necessarily. I don't know. I mean, it's fascinating. I don't know the inner workings of the club at that level. Obviously, guys are looking to reunite. In Jim Curtin and Albright, saying, like, at some point I'd like to work, again with him. But I don't know why you would turn away a team that's been consistently offering you a ton of money year after year to improve your roster, improve things, with a guy in Pat Noonan that, again, has been your friend and kind of worked hand in hand pretty darn well. It is interesting. And why does it come out now? That's the big thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like Ryan said, we'll see if any more comes out of this. If there's kind of a trail to follow as we get deeper into the season. But like Ryan said, transfer window is coming, and it closes September 2nd. So right at the beginning of the new month. No smoke. We were talking last episode. Is there smoke? Is there anything we're looking at? Still no smoke as far as what is FC Cincinnati looking at. Any other? Obviously, like,
only team in the league without a move. I think that was the other one. And
it was Seattle. It was Seattle and us. I think we are the only ones that have yet to make a move.
You ever seen a window this long and without a single signing? Like,
an extended window. This is the longest window in MLS history.
It makes you wonder, like, what is going on? Like, and you hear, the thing for me that's wild is, like, you hear Chris say in Laurel's interview, early on this summer, like, we're not going to sit on our hands. We're going to actively improve things. And we've made improvements in the team, right? Like, in terms of defensively, like, on the pitch, like, it's better. But what's the sacrifice? Like, the offense hasn't been as good then, like, because we've pulled in the reins. Like,
yeah,
not good enough. Like, look at what you have and the money you've spent, and how can you say, I'm not going to do a thing about it? Like, there's got to be something going on, right? Like,
you would think.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like what are we doing? Like, you're kind of at that fringe spot with, 6th place, Sam. If you want to go for a trophy and really ball out, like, to me, a calculated move in being, like, so, like, meticulous about it shows me that the GM is here for a bit, right? I mean, because if he doesn't care, he just goes and signs the next guy, and, like, this fits and shuts up everyone else, right? And, like, so for me, if he's like, hey, I don't want it to be the wrong person, and that's what Pat Noonan said in his press conference, then they're looking forward as well. They're looking to the sprint season. They're looking for next year. They don't want to put themselves back. They have. So,
and that's what last summer showed, right? The Samuel Giddey signing, the Echenike signing, right? Those two specifically showed more of, hey, we're planning for the future here, right?
Right.
And so we'll kind of see what that comes with. September 2nd, is that what day is that? Is that a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday?
It's next Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay. All right. So we will have an episode before that. So we'll see if we get any transfer news on deadline day. Ryan and I might do a special episode. We'll see.
Last year, Brenner, we had the winger from RSL that came in as well. I mean, these were late things. It's wild right now. There's no rumors. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And we have an open U22 spot.
Hey,
Remind
but
everyone,
Brian,
right? Flores is out, so
Yeah.
that spot's open. We have tons of GAM apparently to use.
I tell you one thing, Ryan. What we do have is some new EAFC ratings. All right. Come on now.
That's what we got.
That's
Yeah,
what we
that's
got
it.
for you. And
we
if
needed.
you're interested,
needed.
we've got them for you. So Evander obviously sitting pretty up top for FC Cincinnati as our highest rated player, tied for 8th best in the MLS. Kévin Denkey, Evander 79, by the way. Kévin Denkey at a 76, tied for 11th best in the MLS. So getting some props there. And then you've got Bucha at a 75. Ryan, that's for Bucha. I'm a little surprised by that, but well deserved in my opinion. You've got Brian Ramirez with a 73.
That's
Miles
more surprising
Robinson,
to me.
World
That's
Cup.
more surprising to me.
Oh,
that
Ramirez
that
with the
Ramirez is
73?
high.
Yeah.
Yes. Then he's higher than like some of the other guys too.
Well, and Miles Robinson, World Cup, U.S. men's national team guy, potentially should have been higher. I don't know. Roman, 72. Granted. Miazga, 71. A little high maybe. Obi, 71. Obi's been higher. That's low for Obi. I think Obi's been where Bucha, he's been like a 75, middle of the pack there. Big one for Ryan, though. Again, Andre Shirilla, 59 overall, no photo. But we've seen this in the past with young FC Cincinnati guys.
Give the guy a photo at least. Come on. If you're going to put him in the game, get him a photo.
You've seen it in the past, like Akimi Ordonez, Steven Amenet. Come on. I mean, you're not.
Don't love it. It's weird. EA's ratings sometimes are so wacky with some of the older players that are in the MLS, but they're 80, mid 80s, and legends of the game. And I don't know, man. It's all kind of wacky. The transition from no transfers in to Sam being well, here are the EFC ratings. This is what we have. I want to go in and play the game and manage the franchise and be all right, let's make some trades.
Don't we all? Let's get to work.
Yeah, let's get to work. FCC2, they got killed Wednesday.
A tale of two matches.
5-0 loss. 4th time this season losing by more than 4 goals. That's not good. 2nd time losing by more than 5 goals. Not great. But then they followed up with a 3-1 victory. I think Stefan Chirilla had a good match, in this one. Against Carolina Core, outshot them 20-7. Only had 34% possession.
They were outshot 20-7.
Oh, my bad. They were outshot. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, that would make sense with lacking the possession too. But
yes. Yeah. So impressive win nonetheless to kind of come back after a 5-0 loss. But we'll see. They play Philly 2 on Sunday at 12 p.m. Is their next game. So hopefully they're able to maybe continue winning form. I don't know. We'll see. But Ryan, if you want to hop into this one, oh boy. The match that every FC Cincinnati fan has kind of been dreading after the Seattle match here. We're previewing FC Cincinnati versus Nashville SC Saturday at 8:30 p.m. in Nashville on Apple TV. Ryan, FC Cincinnati won both meetings last year 2-1, our 1-goal specialty in the Pat Noonan era. Evander scored a 90+ 8-minute goal at TQL. And then in the match prior, Denkey scored a 90+ 1-minute pen in Nashville. I mean, extra time has been great for FC Cincinnati since last season. Will it show up again in this match?
The rivalry that isn't a rivalry. We have done well, I think, historically against Nashville. We've done well historically in Nashville. We're not going to do well in Nashville this year. Nashville is pretty darn good.
Go ahead.
Good
Lay
manager.
it out.
BJ Callahan, right now, they're 9 points clear of the second best team in Supporters Shield race. They've run away with it because they prioritize Supporters Shield, and that is the competition in the MLS. Nobody cares, just like nobody cared that they won the U.S. Open Cup last year. I'm going to say it out loud. I just did. But yeah, best 21 games start in MLS history. You can't deny that. They just beat our rivals in the Crew, at home with some late game heroics. But yeah, man, they've had a really good season. What a better time to go and play our best ball, there. Play up to the competition. We seem to do that at times. So I'm for us to be pretty darn pissed off about how we ended the last match, and knowing that we kind of rested some guys. Pat was looking forward to this one. So you're going to see Obi back. You're going to see probably Miazga back in this one. But Nashville's got one heck of an attack, Sam. The three-headed monster with Hani Mukhtar, Sam Surridge, and Christian Espinoza as well. They brought in the offseason. I mean, and they've only just gotten stronger. I think they signed another former World Cup player, right, if I'm not mistaken, from Tunisia in this window alone. Like, they are full-on going for it at this point. So we'll see how it shakes out with them. Again, like I said, like it probably will be bad, but FC Cincinnati surprised us sometimes when we play up against teams.
Yeah, like you said, I think, we've talked about this before, like Cincinnati teams playing down to their competition and playing up when it matters most. So hopefully that's the case in this one. Nashville is still unbeaten at home in MLS play, Ryan. So we could break that streak for them, in this one. It's going to be interesting. Like you had mentioned, Nashville scored twice in stoppage time to beat Columbus in their last match. And then, FC Cincinnati scoring a late equalizer against NYCFC. I think if we're able to hold on for 75 minutes, which team do you trust more when this game gets chaotic in the final 15?
Not us. No way.
I just wanted to see if there's maybe a change of heart considering Evander.
They all go their own ways. When things get hard, everyone decides to pack it up and say, let's play individual. Let's go dribble three guys and try to do it ourselves. There's just not a collective team effort, and Nashville's a collective team right now. They honestly, they got rid of Walker Zimmerman, but they've added in terms of just like chemistry in their roster and like top to bottom talent. Like, I could go on and on and on about it, but
so in this one, would we be lucky to get a draw in this one?
I wouldn't say lucky to get a draw. I think a draw would be a great result against this team.
Regardless if we were winning 2-0 and they come back 2-2, or
that is more of the heartbreak. I think if you can.
Okay, I didn't know if you would take a draw in any way against a team like 100%. This in their form.
100%.
Okay.
I mean, and that's why the tie against Seattle was a loss, because like in my mind we lost 2 points. I mean, we did lose 2 points, but we clearly lost the advantage because like. Nashville is going to be hard as hell, and like there's going to be a lot of things that are come out of it. Like Evander's a card away from a suspension, Miazga's a card away from suspension. There could be some big ramifications. There could be a demoralizing loss that like the rest of the season we just feel like we're like toast. But I guess if there's one shining like glimmer of hope about it, right, is like even if we get killed, Sam, they're already like way ahead of everybody else, so it doesn't shake up the standings that much, right? What are we talking about here? I mean, like, we got to go out and show up. We got to put in the battle. You got to understand that, like, Pat Noonan's got to tell the team, this game's important, I still can't believe he said that this is one of the first times that they told him that the match is an important one to go and play. Like, get up for the game. Like, the players should know that too, but, like, it's got to come from the top. Like, we got to hear it from Pat. Like, these guys better be rearing and ready to go, so.
I mean, Ryan, to me, that sounds like the winning formula, right? He says it in the NYCFC match. Why don't you say it in the Seattle match too? That would have been great.
Everyone. Every game is important. Goodness gracious. So hope we get a solid support down in Nashville. I mean, 4 hours away. We always kind of see the traveling Bailey go down there and make some noise.
Hey, and you gain an hour.
It's true. true. Definitely true. I think that in this one, you always see like a little bit of like some bad blood between them. Obviously we make a little bit about it being a rivalry. It's not a rivalry, but there has been some things kind of historically between the teams.
Really, honestly, like really just good matches between the two.
Yeah.
They're like back and forth, like has been solid matches. But Ryan, in this one, we'll see if we'll get a back and forth. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, I don't feel good. It's going to be a 1-3 loss.
Ooh. Explanation, or are you just gonna leave
Nope,
it?
1-3 loss.
1-3.
Okay. We put in a shift for a solid 35 minutes, and then their talent just outclasses our defense. There's just no answers. There's no response. The collective from the group is not good enough, and we fold. So what about you?
More likely for FCC to fall apart in the first half or the second half, because I know you just said solid shift for the 35. I just didn't know if you meant
the messaging is always good from the start, and we've seen that. We've scored goals to begin. Columbus. We've seen obviously away at Orlando as well, but second half we fall off, and he just hasn't been able to get him up for it, and just hasn't really made the right decisions in terms of like who to bring in. And when you see guys that are kind of like either because of fatigue or because of just like honestly they're getting outdueled, like you got to sum them out, especially against like Nashville's going to bring in quality off their bench, so I think the second half you're more likely to see some of that go down the hill pretty quick.
Yeah, I think we hold on a little bit, but I'm going 1-2. I think we'll lose by 1 goal. I don't know about this one.
Doesn't feel good, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't
feel good at all.
Well, I honestly, like we had been touching on, I don't think any team should feel good about facing Nashville this year. They've just been so dominant. You're looking at a team that's 9 points clear in the Supporter Shield race. Like that's just borderline untouchable when you're coming down to the last match.
Start
of the
to
season.
pull your foot off the pedal then?
If you're them,
like I obviously if we're in that spot, we're saying like we want to go at it for every match, but like you do have 9 points clear, and like you're probably gonna pretty favorably win the Shield. Like, do you start resting some guys and things like that? They're definitely not against us. Like I think that's for sure.
I think if we're in that scenario, Ryan, I think if you go back to 2023, I think you're going step on their neck. I want to see you break the record. I want to we are not sitting anybody. Like screw MLS Cup, Supporter Shield is what matters, right? So I think ultimately Nashville's going to give us their best, and hopefully FC Cincinnati's best shows up as well.
Do you think we'll have our best then? Yeah, what do you think that is then? What's the best?
The best is having I think if you want to go quality or if you want to go cohesiveness, right, we have to have Denkey up top. That's just how it's been, right? You go back to having Kenji up top. I think Bucha out wide, Brian Ramirez on the left. Miazga and Robinson have looked pretty solid together as of recent. Who that third in the back line with them is? Giddy, maybe. And then in the midfield, right, you'd probably go Dotto and Obi. And, right? I think that's about it.
They just have such a high-flying, attack. I think Espinoza is going to run at guys and just
you got to have Obi in there.
Get down to
you got to have Obi in there. That's a must start.
Obi's got to be in there for sure.
That's a must start.
I agree with your whole lineup. I think that's probably the way we roll it out. I just don't still feel great about it. So.
No, that's the reality of it right before the transfer window is you still don't feel good about your lineup.
Maybe they surprise us. Maybe they come out and just say, screw it, let's go. And we're pissed off about how Seattle went. So let's show the league that we're serious and show our fan base that we're serious about it too. So
our captain is, I can tell you that.
Yeah, the dude's been rolling. Let's see if he, in a big match, can show up in this one and continue kind of his MVP form. Because like you said, he's the captain. At the end of the day, he's got to lead by his example there. So we'll see if that happens. Sam, you ready to roll on? Let's hear a trivia question and answer for this week.
Yeah, I got you. When was the last time that Nashville SC beat FC Cincinnati? Ryan, you went with back in 2022, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Well, in this one, you're a little bit off. Nashville last beat FC Cincinnati in May 29, 2024. Yeah. So it's been, more recent than 2022. That was a 2-0 win. Just a tough match for FC Cincinnati. But once again, we swept them last season. And so before that, I think was a draw. And then before that was the loss. So not bad. The past, 3 matches against Nashville, we've got their number in that case. But you never know. You never know which FC Cincinnati, especially the second half, is going to show up.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating like we're talking about. Again, hope you guys can make the travel down, support the boys there. Let's hope we get a draw out of it. I think, again, that would be a win for us. And we'll see you guys next time.